feels so ridiculous. Jesus. Alright, what's going on, guys, and welcome back to the channel. Now today we're going to be working on my 2002 Subaru WRX, and what we're going to be doing today is we're actually going to be upgrading the suspension. And when I say upgrade, go from absolute blown coilover garbage to actually some solid suspension for daily driving. Because for me, a huge thing is just being able to drive my car on a daily basis, because I actually want to enjoy it. And currently it's got a great setup for hard cornering, maybe taking it to a track or autocross, but it's just beating me up in the city and I just really can't take it anymore. So we'll be going over the new suspension that I just got for the car. We'll also be taking it on the road once we put the new suspension on. The following clip that I'm going to show you right now is actually what the suspension was like before. So just look at this clip real quick of me driving through the city on these coilovers and you'll see what I'm talking about. Okay, so the car is currently sitting on BC Coilovers. These coilovers, it's such a double-edged sword. The coilovers, when you're on a really smooth road, it feels wonderful. The handling characteristics are just so tight. When you take in a corner, you can feel everything in the road. But then again, you feel literally everything in the road. So if I want to just be able to daily drive this thing, and I mean, I don't know if you can hear this or see me kind of bobbling around, but on these rough roads closer to the city, it's Jesus. So that's something that you have to really consider when you're buying a set of coilovers. Now, BC Coilovers, they're kind of like the gateway drug to suspension parts. They're easily accessible. They're pretty affordable for coilovers. I would even say they're more of like a budget coilover. They're definitely not like a $200-300 coilover that you're gonna find on eBay. But for $1,000, you get a pretty solid coilover setup. This one even has the 32-way adjustable dampers. I will say that I have messed around with the settings. I've put it on the softest setting on all four corners, and it feels like you're in a bounce house. And then I've actually cranked it up all the way to the stiffness, to the point where I felt my spine go directly out of my skull. Just going through these patches of road, and I'm just hoping that the new spring and strut combo will make for a much smoother ride, because I'm getting pretty sick of this. Let's go to the shop. And just like that, we're back. So I got the car right behind me, but before we pull it into the shop, I did want to kind of see where the current ride height is at. I will say that with coilovers, if you're wanting to just go low, this is a great option. Now, BC coilovers are going to make you go low. If that's all you want to do with the car, you don't care about comfort, you're willing to put up with all the mess that comes with rebuilding coilovers every 10 to 20,000 miles, then it's a good option. I'm not here to knock anybody on their setup. Just for me, it just didn't really make sense with what I want to do with the car, like I said. So let's just get a little rating on the height, and then we can start taking this thing apart. So let me just get a tape measure and then I can give you guys a quick update on what's that. Here's what the car looks like as it is right now. There's a little bit of wheel gap, not super low or anything. As you can tell, a lot of people would probably be making fun that I could get 2 fingers in here. But you know, for what it is, looks pretty good. I will say that these are the brand new tires that I just put on the car. These are Continental Extreme Contact DWS06. It's a mouthful, but they look pretty good. I'm really satisfied with the way they ride and stuff for a performance tire, and I'm pretty happy with them. Okay, so here's a quick look at everything. I think these are the 2 front struts, And then I also have here some camber bolts. Not the most exciting stuff in the world, but this is going to be crucial, especially if you want to do this on a wagon, because this suspension is primarily made for sedans. So the only thing that's different with the wagons is, since it has a little bit narrower of a body, that means that the camber, when you put the new struts on, is going to be a little bit off. So we're going to use this to correct that when getting in alignment. And along with that, I also got this from Subtle Solutions. Okay, so as I get this open, these are called saggy butt spacers. Now you might be wondering, if you don't know anything about these Subarus, what I'm actually talking about. These spacers are meant to go on the top of the strut so that it spaces out the back, because typically with these wagons, they sag a little bit in the back. So they are literally called saggy butt spacers. Like, I'm not even making this stuff up. I mean, you can see it right there. 3/8 inch rear saggy butt spacers. So we're going to use this to make sure that the car isn't sitting not level, so that it looks like it's doing a wheelie all the time. All this is going to do is just kind of counteract that a little bit. This will be my first time actually using these. I did actually want to get these for the battle wagon over there, but it seems to be okay without them. But I thought, since I'm taking these out anyways, that I might as well just do it all at once. And then to get access to the rear struts, I'm actually going to be doing the rears first, because they are a little bit more difficult than the other ones. What you're going to need to do is you're going to need to remove the cover that looks like this off of there, and then you need to remove all this cargo cover, which comes down here. And you fold down the seats, which is super easy. And now you have so much room for activities. Alright, so I got the struts off on one side in the back left corner. So this is the original BC coilover that was on the car. It's covered in dirt, it's wet, it looks like it's been there forever, and my hands are completely black, literally from the gloves. But this is the new strut. As you can see, it's going to be a little bit taller, but I mean, how do you expect a car to ride nice when the spring on the coilover is so dainty? I mean, look at the difference. Like, this is going to be all the shock absorption that's coming through here. And I mean, when it's brand new like this and all put together, it looks really good. And I did hear that red struts equals 50 plus horsepower. But anyways, if you're looking to do this, I actually did do a video on how to put struts on these older Imprezas, which is over here. I did a lift on that, and I removed the suspension and put Forester struts on it. So that would be a good video to check out if you're looking to get more information on how to do the struts themselves. Alright, and we're back. So I took off this coilover. As you can see in the back, where is she at? Oh yeah, looks good in red. I like that. Got a nice thick cat.
A few moments later.
Okay, and now we're back. So I brought the car back in the shop after taking it out for a quick spin, only doing the rears, and my god, it made a huge difference already. Just doing the rears on your car, especially if you have blown struts in the back, it makes a huge difference. It's much more comfortable in the state that it's in right now. But the thing is, we still need to do the fronts. It would be kind of silly if we left coilovers and then a spring strut combo on this car. Probably nothing bad would ever happen to the car if you ran it like this, but it does kind of feel like it's doing a nosedive, especially here with the coilover setup in the front being a little bit lower than it is in the rear. There has been a little bit of a drop. I mean, this is about a 1-inch drop from the OEM ride height that you would get right out of the box with one of these cars. So it does give it that little more aggressive look of a stance, if that's something that you're going for. It's definitely not like full stance nation over here. I mean, there's pretty much like a 2-finger gap, you know, which would bother a lot of people, but for me, I would much rather have the comfort than the gap in between the wheels. And in the fronts too, I think it's maybe like 1.5 fingers. It's like, it's pretty close for what it is, honestly. But what I'm gonna do in the meantime is I'm going to jack up the car. We'll do the fronts real quick, and then we'll take it out for one last drive, and I'll give you my overall thoughts on this current spring and strut combo in comparison to the original suspension. So let's get to it. a side-by-side look of the coilovers versus the spring and strut combo that we're going to be using. As you can see, this is how much spring and shock you're given for just wanting to go low. So as you can see the difference. Look at it. I mean, it's pretty obvious. You don't need me to sit here and blabber on about it. Okay, so this is what the suspension looks like right now. I haven't buttoned everything up, but I thought I'd just give you guys a quick look at the fronts. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. Just make sure you keep the camber bolt on top. It's going to be two 19mm bolts. Not sure how well you're going to see this. Hold on, let me get the light. Oh, much better. Okay, so as you can see, there's two 19mm bolts down here, and then there's three 12s at the top. So there you go. Just make sure you have the orientation of the top hat right. As you can see, it has the marking to show you where to put it. So we got that all set up. I need to reinstall the brake lines. It's very red under here. There's red sway bars, red calipers. The previous owner even painted the back of this red for God knows what. So I think the struts look pretty good in this orientation. Could be a little less red, but that's all good. Doesn't really bug me. So let's just get the rest of this car put together. Okay, fast forward a couple days after I put the car back together, and here we are driving through some back roads, and I gotta say, this car was driving wonderfully. Is when you do suspension, you immediately feel the difference, and in this case, it felt really good from going what it was before. You know, it's got that drop in it, so the suspension spring rates do have to be a little bit stiffer, so you do feel that. And it doesn't feel sloppy when you're going around corners at high speeds, and it takes the bumps pretty well. I mean, you're still going to feel bumps when you go on certain parts of road. I mean, it's inevitable. It's a performance car. You know, it's not a luxury car or like a Cadillac from the 80s and 90s, so it's not going to feel like you're floating around. But those are characteristics that you don't want. You want it to feel really solid and be able to perform at high speeds and cornering and things of that sort. Overall, a really great suspension setup, and I'm super happy with it. Okay, so I just got the car back from the tire shop, and this is how it sits right now. It sits a little bit taller, as you can see. In the front, you can obviously see the wheel gap. I did do the rears a little bit sooner than the fronts, so I'm assuming that this is going to settle in a little bit more. I was able to get the alignment within spec. It's about, I'd say, a little more than 2 fingers. You could get 3 if you really tried. But again, I'm looking more for function rather than form. As you know, with the coilovers, it did sit a little bit better, but just thought I'd give you guys a quick look. What the rears look like. But overall, I'm pretty happy. And I will say that for the next video, I do got some stuff that I want to do with this car, so we'll just keep it locked in till then. So thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe for more, and I'll see you in the next one.